All right, bet. Good morning, good morning. Perfect. All right, cool. So as we started off, like I mentioned, you want to give thanks and give gratitude literally for the environment that you're in, the things that you're doing. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. This thing's popping up on my screen. All right, bet. You want to give thanks for the people that are around you, the people that are feeding into you, the information that you're intaking, because really and truly, we're not supposed to be here, and we say that, and we want us to remember that we're not supposed to be here, and just to be humble and grateful for the fact that we are here, and we do have access to such information, and we do have access to such leadership and mentors that are literally giving us the keys and the blueprints to reach financial freedom, to reach 6, 7, 8 figures, to reach an impact greater than what we may have been able to accomplish by ourselves, right? But going into our own personal perspective on our situations and stuff, right? When you come into this type of space and you're doing something like this and you're doing it really big, you got to make sure that you hold yourself to a certain standard. You got to make sure that you have yourself in check, and how to, talked about it yesterday in terms of emotional intelligence, but you know how to maneuver through your space as certain things, as your approach with certain dilemmas or certain issues or whatever the case is, attitudes, everything, right? This is a note from Dr. China Bethley. She is a chairman in 50, I believe, in the company. She's actually one of the few people who started off this entire company, or who has helped push it from the early stages. And she basically said, you got to train people how to treat you based on the way you treat yourself, right? So in order for somebody to treat you a certain way, you already have to hold yourself to that certain standard, and you have to upkeep that standard so that people know not to come in and disrespect you, or people know that you hold yourself to a certain light, you hold yourself to certain morals and values. And a lot of the time, if you're doing it to a certain degree, you're going to be able to see, it's going to be visible, it's going to be present. People are going to notice it the moment they walk up to you, right? How you carry yourself, how you speak, your body language, your posture. Come on, guys, I love y'all, but we need to stay muted. Appreciate you. Body language, posture, the way we're speaking and things like that, that's going to say a lot. First impressions last a lifetime, right? That's going to say a lot about how you treat yourself, how you view yourself, how you see yourself, and that's going to give an idea for other people, in terms of how they should treat you, right? And not every case you're going to have somebody that's going to respect the way you carry yourself off rip, no, but there are going to be a certain amount of people that are going to approach you by the way you present yourself, right? So one thing she mentioned was basically like, dress the way you want to be addressed, right? Even though we're doing the chunk of this business virtually online, we're having our Zoom calls, we're having our Zoom meetings and things like that, our webinars, even if we're home, we still want to make sure that we're dressing apart, that we're acting, we're showing up into this space and putting on that face like, hey, like, these are my business hours. I'm locked into my business, as if you were about to show up and put in some work at the office or whatever the case is, right? She mentioned that you gotta find yourself and put yourself in a space where you can really thrive in, right? Spread your wings and be who it is God has destined you to be, right? As I mentioned, we are God's highest form of creation on this earth, right? Bob Proctor has even spoke about it, where in terms of animals, we are alike when it comes to animals, but the difference is between humans and animals is that we have an intellect that we can activate, where now we are able to use that intellect to create the life that we want to live, or create our environment the way we want to see it, right? Whereas for animals now, they don't have that intellect, and they're comfortable in their environment because their environment is literally their home. They don't really have much of a choice of that unless they choose to migrate. But us now as humans, we have that choice. We have that ability to literally create everything around us, right? Just by the way, again, how deep can you activate your intellect? And again, that goes back to the space that you're putting yourself in. We are all here in a space, again, where the information is coming and flowing through. So it's just a matter of, are you going to sit there and let it pass you by, or are you going to pick it up and actually apply it and start to use it, right? So you got to ask yourself, what can I do differently, right? Getting into a space of learning that you only have one you. Hold on. Getting into a space of learning that you only have one you, right? I don't know what I meant by that, but we're going to keep pushing. So you only have one you. You got to make sure that you're educating yourself. You got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You got to make sure that you're showing up for yourself in the way that is necessary for you to progress, right? I always talk about accessing or tapping into that future self, tapping into that future you, so that you can start to bring those characteristics here into the physical, or into the future, or into the present, sorry, to make it your new way of living, right? To start to change your paradigm, to start to bring the things that you want to do into your future, into the present right now, so that you can bring your future here a lot faster, right? It's all part of the process, right? Understand that there's going to be times where, we're going to hit those trials, we're going to hit those tribulations, but it's part of the process. You literally just have to dust yourself off and get up, right? My Rose always says, I'm never down. I'm either up or I'm getting back up, right? It's all about perception of your environment, a perception of your situation. Okay. You need to develop the muscles that are going to help you get stronger, right? You need to put the reps in. You can't come into this space once, twice, and expect to have everything down pat off of a couple calls, right? You can't just hop on these trainings and expect to, make 6, 7, 8 figures if you're not actually applying the information, if you're not actually practicing this information, if you're not actually going onto your Go Lives or going onto your harmonic scanners to practice the strategies, going into your demo account or even your live account to plug in these trades to make sure that, you're actually getting your reps up. You're putting in the work to understand and make more sense of what it is that's happening, right? This is a skill set. This is not the easiest part of it is going to be making the money. Yes. But there is still a deeper side of things, right? The money aspect of it is just the 10%. Remember, whenever you're working towards anything, any type of goal, it is 10% physical, but it is 90% spiritual, right? 90% spiritual. So you have to tap into your mindset. You got to tap into your spirituality. You got to tap into your thought process. You got to tap into your game plan and, start to visualize where it is that you want to go, how you want to get there, what you want to do when you get there, right? And literally have everything laid out so that 10% physical that comes into play is literally the last piece of the puzzle. Everything's just gonna now fall into place because you have it all planned out, you have it all mapped out, you have it the way that you want to execute it, right? So this is probably possible. Everything is happening for you, not to you, right? Everything is as is. You decide whether you want to take the positive aspect to it or the positive side of it, or you decide if you want to take it to the negative side. Everything has a positive and a negative. Everything has some sort of balance, right? But again, it's your perception on the situation that's going to determine how you react to it. It's going to determine how you feel about it. It's going to determine how you maneuver through it to get past it, to continue to push forward, right? Now, if you're operating on a side of positivity, then you're going to have the faith. You're going to have that, like, yeah, I'm here with it. We're going to push through. It's okay. It's just another roadblock, but we're going to get around it, right? Or you can look at it as, okay, the world is ending. Like, I don't know why everything is always happening to me. Why is it always me? Why me? Why me? Da, 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 da. Like, yeah, it's always you because you keep saying it's always you. Change the narrative, flip your script, right? But you have to know where your grace is. So be authentic to you, that you develop more than anything else, right? If you aren't whole, or you don't even have to be fully whole, but if you're not working on figuring out who you are wholeheartedly, if you're not working on developing yourselves in many other areas, right? Pushing through this space may be a little bit difficult just because, let's just say if you're not making profits, or let's just say the prospecting isn't going the way you want it to go, right? Are there other areas in your life growing and developing so that you can still bring and provide value to this space where now you're still adding value and now you're working on the other things that you need to work on so that you can be even stronger, right? But if you're not tending to yourself, if you're not tending to the things that actually need your attention, and if you're not putting in that work and putting in that effort to, keep growing and develop as a person, your growth is going to be stunted. Your growth is going to end up slowing up because you're not tending to the necessary things that actually need you to tend to, so that you can continue to progress forward, whether that be your health, whether that be results, whether that be spiritually, whether that be physically in terms of like exercising or whatever the case is. It's a full circle thing, right? We need everything to function as like who we are, like stand in our ground, effectively, right? But just some little things like studying people, behavior, movements, speaking, and your thought process, right? Especially if you're a business owner within this space, you got to know how to do it all. You got to know how to be versatile. You got to know how to bounce from one thing to another thing and snap back, and then give a call here, pick up a phone, and then close somebody, and then hop on. You got to know how to bounce around when it comes to this, right? And again, that also comes with emotional intelligence and being able to turn off certain things and know when to address it, when there's a time to pay attention to this, or when there's a time to be on the charts, or when there's a time to be on a training. You know what I mean? You got to know how to bounce around with things, right? She said, have a calendar. Having a calendar now is literally going to be your boss, especially when you're here working for yourself. You got to hire yourself. That's the first thing, right? You need to hire yourself before you can even try to bring anybody into your business. If you don't hire yourself wholeheartedly, where do you think your business is going to go? Where do you think, what do you think the people that are coming in after you are going to do? How do you think that they're going to act or react to the way that you're moving within this space, right? You have to hire yourself first, especially for my ladies, right? Because then you got to ask yourself, what position can I be in to maximize this fully? Right? What position do I need to be in to take the most advantage from this opportunity, right? But understand that you have a story the moment you step in, or the moment you say yes to Forex. That is the beginning of your story, right? My story began, I heard the opportunity, and literally 2 to 3 days later, I was in, right? Some people's stories where they heard about the opportunity, didn't pay any attention, and took a couple months, and then finally they jumped in, right? Your story is your story once you say yes. It's just a matter of, okay, how am I going to move within my story? This is your book. This is your movie. This is your film, right? You are the director. You are the one that calls the shots. You're making the script. You're acting it out. So, play that lead role. Play that, be the main character of your own movie. Don't be an extra, right? And, be able to hold yourself to a certain standard and a certain value, so that it's an interesting movie. People are going to want to be like, oh, I want to watch that, or I want to pay attention to that, or I want to tune into that. You know what I mean? But you gotta, put yourself up there so that you can actually feel, how do I say? You want to step into that person you want to become. That, again, that goes with just being committed to who you are, being committed to your growth, being committed to understanding better within the spaces that you're moving, or understanding who you are as a person better, so that you can be authentic within this space and bring the value that you have to the table, right? Show up on time, get there early, stay late. This can change your financial trajectory, right? That goes for everything in terms of the calls. Being early is you being on time. You being on time is like you being late, and then you being late is like possibly to not even get in, right? So you want to make sure that you're prioritizing your education, you're prioritizing your learning, and you're dedicating whatever time that you have set out for this. And you're actually, when you dedicate that time, you're in the space, you're focused, you're locked, right? I'm not saying to dedicate all of your time to this, because that we all have lives. Some of us work, some of us have children, some of us have, families or whatever that we have to take care of. So I'm not saying all of your time, but whatever time that you decide to dedicate to it, make sure you're dedicating yourself to it wholeheartedly, right? Like I said, get ready as if you're going in for a job, fresh face. Even though we're home, you want to take yourself out of that lazy mode, out of that slumpy, oh, I'm home, I'm just going to kick it type of mode, right? Forgive me, like I'm in a sports bar because I'm about to go work out after this. I'm going to get my exercise in. I'm going to do what I got to do, and then freshen up and get back into, work mode. I'm here. This is my office. On the charts, educating, whatever the case is, right? Gives you, when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you attract good, right? Like I mentioned, your calendar is your boss. So if you don't have anything on your calendar, you don't really have a business. You don't really have anything that's structured. Organization is a very big thing to making sure that you're moving flawlessly throughout your day, or you're not wasting time chunks during your day just because that you don't have something planned out or structured out, or on your calendar. So make sure that you have a calendar and you're actually putting down the things that you need to get done, whether it's a prospect, whether it's hopping on a training, whether it's different trading sessions, whatever the case is, whether it's reading or exercising. Have your calendar so that you can follow yourself for the day, right? You can follow what it is, whatever it is that you set yourself out to do for this day, right? Clear your schedule, know who you're welcoming, who you're onboarding. Everyone comes into launch, they don't have a mindset yet, help them develop their mindset. So understand that the majority of these people that hop into this business, 90% of us are customers. So that leads, the 10% to the IBOs. For that leadership aspect, the leadership role, again, you got to be strong in who you are. You got to know who you are, and then who you're going to deal with. And now you got to start to shuffle through the mix and see, okay, does this person exemplify this and this trait or skill set that could potentially, mimic a great leader, right? So you want to start to look at the way people are moving within this space, right? How is their schedule set up? How do they value themselves? How do they carry themselves? Are they on time? Are they prompt? Are they tapping into their education? Little things like that. And you want to start to feed into the people who are actually showing up. Like, shout out to you guys that are on the call. We are 12 people deep, right? You guys are the ones that are showing up. You guys are the ones that want the extra gems, that want the information, that are going to, take it and run with it so that you can better yourself, right? And it's the people who are showing up are the ones that you got to focus on, the ones that you got to work with. But understand that you the shit. You a boss, you a leader, you a king, you a queen. Hold yourself to the highest standard and actually start to perform start to show up for your future self, show up as your future self. And at the end of the day, we know what it is that we need to be doing. We know the way that we should be acting, or what we should be doing, or what we shouldn't be, what we need to be sacrificing. It's just a matter of, are we doing it or not, right? But if you really want to be holding yourself to a level, or if you want to be growing and operating as your future self, then you got to start making these sacrifices. You got to start making these sacrifices, and you got to start to crack down on yourself. What Isaiah said last week, don't be nice. Like, don't sugarcoat it when you start to slip up. Like, put yourself in check and be like, nah, like, you need to tighten up. If you want this, and you have to do this and that, you have to show up a little bit harder. You got to do a little bit more, right? So that's basically what I have. I actually, real quick, wanted to just speak on, your emotion in terms of how passionate you are, or like, where do you want to take this, or like little things in between that are going to help you progress, and just literally, again, your perception on who you are, your reality, and the things that are happening to you is literally going to determine how you move towards your goals, how you move towards your success. So I'm going to pass this off to Marlon. We got P150, Mr. Potty Pippins. Did I say it right?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Let me not get in trouble.
Okay. But I'm gonna pass it off to you, and just run with it a little bit. Talk to the people about values.
I got you. I'm gonna do it. All right, y'all. Let me get some fire emojis in the chat real quick, just to make sure y'all live. Y'all are alive and well and fired up. Reese dropping gems. I'm not gonna try to keep y'all here too long. There we go. Just got a couple things I wanted to talk about, because she, like I said, she's already touched up on a lot. And it's already 11:30. Just want to make sure, we here with it. Where we at? All right, I see the chat box. Y'all going here. All right, so let's keep things concise. So when it came to recognizing your value, right? One thing that I've recognized a lot of times, especially when you're going through, you know, a lot of things, there's always a lot of confusion, especially with, you know, what's being pushed through, you know, our medias, our society as a whole, what we've internally collected and the things that we've internalized within ourselves, like habits, mindsets, different defense mechanisms, just our certain ways of thinking that we have. You know, it gets cluttered up in here, right? It gets cluttered up in here. A lot of times, one gem I came across is that whenever it's kind of cold in here, bro, kind of shaking. Whenever God says, you know, in the Bible, whenever they mention the word heart, a lot of time people think that it refers to, you know, what's in your chest, but the heart is actually your brain. You know what I'm saying? It's what's up in here, how you thinking, because most of what a person is, or what a man is literally what he thinks about. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily about, you know, so when they tell you certain things like, oh yeah, follow your heart, or follow, you know what I'm saying? It's like, use this, you know what I'm saying? Because even sometimes when you use this to, you know, take you certain places, or you feel like you want to do this, or you could just literally feel this pulsating for a certain thing, or, you know, just gearing you towards and pushing you towards a certain direction, this isn't always going to be the best, right? And neither will this either, especially if you don't have the right intel and the right downloads, you know what I'm saying, in your subconscious, and what it is that you're actually having this push you towards and make you think about, right? So just to give a quick breakdown, you know, on one of the Sunday calls, I mentioned, you know, knowing your purpose. I think it was the first one. Knowing your purpose, and how in order to actually know that purpose and give you that confidence, that's what it was. It was building that confidence to you know, be alive and just be here on this earth. You know, it starts with, one of the first things you need is, matter of fact, I have a screenshot right here on my wallpaper. Let me not play with it. Doom. Yes, knowing your success is in God's favor, right? So everything. All right, so y'all know how God is split into three, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we are also a triad of like as individuals, we are also like made up of like three parts. So the way it goes is, you have your spiritual, you know, the spiritual sense, the one that, you know, that sticks right here to this. I forgot what this gland is called. I'm not even going to dish that because I don't remember. But your spiritual, your soul, and then your physical, right? So you're compartmentalized to three. And in order for us to truly elevate and become greater beings on this earth, you feel me? It takes a complete shift and also balance in between all three, right? So every day, like I said, you got the spirit, your soul, and then your body, your physical. So the thing is, every day like we wake up, there's a battle for the soul right here in the middle. Reason being is because the soul itself is actually broken up into three parts as well. So the soul is your mind, your emotions, and your will. So you break down yourself into the spirit, the soul, and the physical, the body. And then the soul itself is broken down into your mind, which is how you think, your emotions, which is what you feel, and then your willpower. Basically, you know, your ability to, you know, if you're gonna make a decision, you're making that decision and you're gonna stick to it. You know, when someone tells you no, you can tell yourself yes. That's your will. You know, willpower is directly connected to, you know, free will. You get the decision to gun ho for whatever you want to take seriously. You know what I mean? So with that being said, when the reason that there's a battle between the soul is because our spirit, that positive thinker that's always in the back of our head, that's telling us that you might be doing wrong, like this isn't completely righteous, or this isn't completely right. You know, you're second guessing, damn, is this a sin? Like, this is something that I'm gonna get in trouble for. Like, I know I really shouldn't be eating this because I'm supposed to be, eating this instead, you know what I'm saying? But this burger look fire, you know what I mean? So your spirit is always going to tell you, you know what I'm saying, what it wants from you in terms of the right direction. You know what I mean? You're always going to be able to. That's why one of the things you want to be is connected to your source, because your source isn't going to tell you anything that is going to bring you a detriment, especially for the long run, especially when God wants you to fulfill your purpose. The spirit is going to constantly tell you, you know, every time you pick up something that you might not, that you know is not going to wholeheartedly benefit you, you're second guessing it. You know what I'm saying? That's your spirit at play, right? But then you got, you know, so like I said, like we're utilizing that burger, like that takes us back to our physical, right? So now what we're doing to our physical body is basically saying like, okay, even though my spirit's telling me I really shouldn't, like, all right, now, okay, actually I messed that up. So like I said, spirit, soul, and then body. So once your spirit's telling you no, boom, now your soul is like, well, like I done had this before, like the way the juice seeps out that burger, bro, that, you know what I'm saying, the mayo spread on the bun is just, it's gonna hit when I smack it, right? It's gonna hit. I just know it's gonna hit. That's what you feel, you know what I'm saying? So then now in your mind, now you're thinking about it. Now you're like, well, you're kind of sitting in stuck in a rock and hard place, differentiating on whether or not it's the right or wrong thing to do to eat that sandwich, you know what I'm saying, or eat that burger. Boom. So then there comes in your willpower. It's basically like, you know, are you going to be able to tell yourself no and hold to that, right? So now this is where the physical comes into play, because now that your emotions are kind of in it, and then your mind is already sitting on the fence, now your taste buds are starting to, you know, twink, you know what I'm saying? They starting to, you know, go a little haywire because they think you thinking about what it's going to feel like to eat that sandwich, you know what I'm saying? So boom, there your physical starts to send, you know, like positive, you know, chemicals to yourself, like, yo, bro, if you eat this, you're going to have not only like satisfaction, you're going to be, you know, fulfilled, like on your stomach, bro. You're not going to be hungry anymore. You know what I mean? You're about to have a time of your life with this sandwich, bro. But then, so now your soul is sitting in the middle, conflicted. You see what I'm saying? Because there is one side of you telling you like, okay, this isn't going to be good for you. You know that this is processed. You know, you've seen documentaries saying where they might be chopping up kids to send this meat out, bro, and you still gonna eat that McDouble, bro. You still gonna do it, and you just like, man, bro, like that McDouble ain't do nothing to me, bro. And I don't know them kids. So like it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the battle that we're in every day, is bringing that balance between what spirit's telling us, you know what I'm saying, in terms of elevating to our higher self, and what we've downloaded into our soul because of the input from the physical. You know what I mean? So, and that's why one of the things, in order to really transverse this dimension and just, you know, get up out of this reality, is to elevate your way of thinking. You know what I mean? You really want to take yourself and tap into that higher power, because that's what happens a lot of time. Like if you notice people that are just like belligerent individuals, or people who just can't seem to keep up, you know, on the intellectual. Yeah. So people that might not be able to keep up intellectually, if you'll notice, there's a certain vibration that they're capped at. That, you know what I'm saying, they're capping here. They can't progress forward, because a lot of times, you know, the things that they've implemented into their daily lives, the things that have like went into their bodies and went into their minds in a way that they fix themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to, you know, operate on a low vibrational level, and to also know that, okay, yeah, I'm destined for greater. Like I can feel that there's more. Like I'm not comfortable with this. Some people just don't, you know what I'm saying, see that side of life, because they haven't made that decision to actually try to elevate and vibrate higher. So a lot of times, like I was saying, there's always this confusion and this sense of clutter when it comes to understanding, you know, how to bring that balance and that true like congruity between all three parts of yourself, right? Something that I still got to work on every day. And one thing that I find that helps whenever I feel like my soul is confused, I go and I seek answers, you know, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be questions. Like what you go through is not necessarily any different than what the next person is going through, because what are those things called? You know how we are, like you go and you sit in a circle and you're like, hi, my name's Jeff, and I've been an addict for X amount of years. And they'd be like, well, hi, Jeff. What are they called? I mean, what they like, it's called like group, I forget. There's like a group consensus or something, right? Support group. There you go. 9 times out of 10, like I say, you can, whatever you're going through, somebody somewhere in this world where there's 7 billion people has probably gone through it, been through it, or going through it with you, growing through it with you. So, you know, never believe that, you know, your problems are like problems that can't be solved, or problems that you won't be able to get answered, you know what I'm saying? Or to feel like you're going to actually lose to it. You know, seek answers to the questions that, you know what I'm saying, you're having inside yourself, right? Because when you get answers to those questions, you start to give your soul a little clarity, right? So you start to give your mind, you know, that clarity in, okay, what was I missing here? Like whenever you're going through something, right? A lot of times I could tell you guys, like from personal experience, I think it was about 2016 is when I realized that, you know, I was an empath, just being able to feel other people. Like I have this ability to acquiesce energies, and I can peep, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you can be saying one thing at your mouth all nice and, you know, dandelion cotton candy, but the energy that I'm feeling between whatever vibrations you putting off is, I don't see it, right? So I realized this when, okay, and then I actually, because I didn't know what was happening. Just all of a sudden, you know, all these things start happening. My feelings just like, I just felt like I opened up, right? And I was just so receptive to everything. I was always one of those people that, you know, coasted with emotions. I was like, yeah, it's cool. When things weren't cool, yeah, it's cool. Oh, no, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, it's back. Boom. When I finally got to a point in my life where I actually, you know, started surrendering myself to the works of the universe, to the stars, you know what I'm saying, and what it actually could do for us, you know, and actually embracing emotions, yo, crazy. I thought I was going crazy. And then what happened simultaneously was I was in the environment. So I was in Liberty City, in Miami at the time, one of like kind of like, you know, hardcore areas of the other city, and just chilling. I was there because it was summer and I was going to FIU and I didn't want to have to go all the way back home. You know, so I was like, let me just be in Miami. And then my boy Greg was there too. You know, we rapped together and whatnot. So we was just, you know, we was kind of in the trap. You know, it's a lot of traffic, you know, dudes coming in and out. You feel me? And there was a lot of people staying there. Like we were in like a 2-bedroom with like eight folk in there. And so it was really weird to be realizing that, okay, and what I didn't know was why I'm going through all these feelings. Why do I feel things that I necessarily haven't felt before? Why is it that, you know, I'm tapping into certain emotions that I was once at one point in my life, I was good with dealing with. Like, you know, I wasn't never really angry in terms of jealousy wasn't something that like would sit on my chest. Fear wasn't something that really like, you know what I'm saying, bothered me. So like, what is going on? Like I told you, I felt like I was going crazy and God wasn't talking loud enough. So I actually ended up going to a psychic. And she just kind of broke it down to me in ways that like let me know that, okay, you were going through a spiritual awakening. All right, that's all you gotta tell me. All right, so now, boom, that gave me a piece of clarity, and I was like, all right, bet. So that means that with this awakening that's happening, I'm becoming more receptive. I'm taking a lot in. That's one of the reasons why, you know, I can feel every individual that walks through that door, that daps my hand, that hugs me, you know what I'm saying, that chills and gives me conversation. I'm absorbing whatever it is that you got going on, make me feel crazy, you know? So that's when I realized, okay, there's an awakening happening. But then I'm like, okay, well, why is it like it's coming to me? Why is it coming through me? That's when you realize I found out I'm an empath. So I'm like, okay, starting to piece pieces of the puzzle together, you know what I'm saying? In a way where it's like, you know, 6 months prior to that happening, I would have never thought about that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you realize that, boom, you start vibrating at a higher frequency. Now my conversation changes because I can't talk to any of y'all in this environment about this. Y'all would not understand what it is I'm going through. You know what I mean? So now I can't even comfortably dwell in this area anymore, right? Because I've tapped in, because I've tapped into something, and then I had to go and seek answers. So now on my journey to seek answers, and on my trek to understand more, now it's opening up my mind to different sides of life and a different way of looking at things. You know what I mean? And now it's difficult for me to sit in certain environments or sit with certain people or have conversations with certain people, because now I don't want to talk. I don't. Because what do I have to talk about with you, right? So this is where that, you know, going on your spiritual journey brings not only value to you, you know what I'm saying, but clarity to yourself. So now you get the opportunity to progress in ways that others might not be progressing around you. You know what I mean? You're going to start attracting things towards you that others might not attract. And it's not even in comparison to others, just a comparison to yourself. Matter of fact, things that you might not have attracted beforehand. You're being able to manifest things and interact with individuals that are going to take you to that next notch, because, you know, you never want to stop there. Never, ever think that you have it all figured out. But you want to do your due diligence and bringing yourself that balance, answering the questions that your soul needs answered, right? I was doing, like, I hit another one. I think I honestly hit another one of those awakenings beginning of this year, when right before COVID happened. So COVID has been like a really, like, you know, this quarantine has been like a soul searching, spiritual developing, like, for everyone, not just myself, but just for everyone. So you got to really go in there and figure out, you know how they tell you that, oh, you the type of person, like, you got an old soul, right? That it actually gets deep like that. It really does get deep like that. Doing some soul searching, and as corny as it sounds, and as weird as it sounds, as off the wall as it might seem right now, a piece of me was sitting there, and honestly, I felt like it was very brief, very, very brief, but a conversation with a past life. You know what I'm saying? Because I truly believe in, I guess, in like reincarnation or whatever. You know, the fact that we're being in this time, in this day and age right now. I believe that this day and age was what our ancestors have been waiting for. What all the saints in heaven were screaming, like, how long? Like, I honestly believe that this is the new day and age that we have been, you know, waiting for God to come and do whatever he has to do. So regardless of if it's this lifetime, like, that we get to see it, at least the next 100 to 200 years, bro. I don't know. However, you know, I feel like, you know, your soul has gone through many lifetimes to bring you up to a certain point, you know, whether it have been, you know, as an animal, as a different person, as a different gender, as a different, you know, like I say, but your soul basically continuously is coming back to, you know, correct itself, you know, get. That's why a lot of times, you know, you'll have senses of deja vu, or you'll come into contact with a person and be like, yeah, I know you from somewhere. I've known you before. Soulmates, you know what I mean? Soulmates isn't just, oh yeah, we just cool and whatnot. Our souls connect. It's like, nah, the souls are connected because at some way, shape, or form, in some dimension, reality, or somewhere else, past, present, and or future, like, you're interacting on a star level, on a more spiritual level. You know what I mean? In terms of what it is to actually fulfill whatever's purpose your spirit has been put here for, right? So just, you know, giving yourself intel and information that is going to elevate you and challenge your ways of thinking. That's the thing that really is the most difficult part, because once you start to embark on these type of journeys, it gets really, like I said, it gets really confusing. It gets really cluttered because there's so much going on. There's so many areas to tackle and look at, right? because it's one, you know, you got to understand spirit, then you got to understand your soul and your physical. You got to know how to feed all three of those properly to bring you your purest form of love and balance, you know what I'm saying, within yourself, to recognize that there really is no right and wrong in terms of there's only really energy, you know what I mean? Positive and negative. Like, you can't have, God would not have been able to make such a beautiful earth with all of these, you know, all of these designs and all of these different, just like, you know, y'all turn on National Geographic and see how beautiful some of this stuff is. None of this would have been able to be here without all the violence and, you know, destruction that was occurring before the earth actually formed. Like, it was just a bunch of just rocks just pounding each other, you know what I mean? A bunch of volcanic eruptions just constantly happening. The moon is literally just a piece of what Earth was before it got caught into the what's the word? See, this is why I gotta start like going back to school, bro, because I'll be forgetting everything. The gravitational pull or whatever it is. Yes, it got stuck in its orbit. Wow. Yes. So the you know, the moon is just a piece of Earth, you know, from when everything was clashing, clanking, and just looking just kind of ugly. You know what I mean? Which is exactly what, you know, what we're doing. This times right now, like, things are looking like down. Well, at least for me, things were looking like dark and like, yo, is there a reality outside of this? I don't know if you guys ever seen that one meme video where there's this guy sitting in the lawn chair and it's just raining hard and he's just chilling. Like, he is just chilling, right? Because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. However, you're never going to be able to get to that next step or that next great, you know what I'm saying, momentum and shift in your life without having to fall first. Like, I had this one bar, I say, if you never fall or fail, you will never know success, right? If you do not know what it's like to lose, how can you win? Winning is just a literal compilation of just all the L's you took, right? Because if you take your team all the way, you know what I'm saying, you and your team, you go all the way to the championship for whatever sport you play, and y'all do the damn, and like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, you get that dub in the championship, the energy that's going to be sitting on that dub, on that win, is going to be two totally different energies if it was easy. If you won every time, you won every game, everything happened for you so easily, so normal, so perfect, so fair, you know what I mean? And you ran into no troubles, as opposed to being the underdogs, being a team that wasn't supposed to make it this far. You dealt with, you know, different, you know, outside forces trying to, you know, negate, you know, the momentum that you and your team was doing. So maybe, like, you know, back in the days, like, they had racism, you know, a lot of black teams had to deal with, you know, people not wanting them to compete. Only reason I say that is because I went to think about the movie Coach Carter, like, in that moment. But there's a different gratitude, and not only like in gratification to the whole process, and knowing that, yo, I had to go through all of this, you know what I mean, in order to bring it to this point. So that's why you want to take, like I said, you want to take and be happy with your process, right? Because if you know that you're going through something, if you have something that's challenging you, remember, that's just the sword being put back into the fire and tempted again, just to bring clarity back to God, to say, like, okay, I'm finna put you through the fire again and again and again, because tomorrow is going to be a new battle, because, like, the devil ain't gonna let up. And if y'all have ever played like any video games, especially video games where you got like rank up, or like a MMORPG, excuse me, I'm a nerd, so like online role playing games, when you start at level 1, you know, you fighting level 1, you know, demons and level 1 battles and monsters and stuff. You get to level 25, all right, now the level 30 monster starting to come out. You're like, all right, y'all got 10 levels on me right now, but that's okay, because I know if I maneuver this part right here, you know what I'm saying, I go and get my herbs, I go and get my weapons, my armor, whatever I need to, you know, beat this boss right here, boom, I'm gonna get past it. And the next thing you know, you can't beat them. But every time you know, you gotta go and try it again, or you gotta go, you know, level up. Now in your process, you have to do the little things in order to level up, piece by piece by piece by piece. Next thing you know, you come back to that boss that was a level 36. You're a level 35 now. And it's like, okay, now I can do some real damage. You beat that boss, next thing you know, you a level 40. Now those old problems, those old monsters, those old demons, they can't affect you. You know what I mean? How they used to. They can't, because why? You've elevated. You've taken that time to go through those troubles. You literally taken all of it in, the bad and the good, to literally level yourself up. And now that you're leveled up, now you're going to, and the only thing that's going to happen next is you're going to have a bigger boss that's going to take care of. However, those right there, they can't affect you the same no more. But you're still going to have to get tested. You're still going to be having to go through that process. So it's, you know, being comfortable in yourself and knowing where you're at, knowing what you've already conquered, knowing what you've already overcame, knowing what's next for you. You know what I'm saying? When you know God's vision for you, it's almost unfathomable. It's like, I can't believe it. You know what I mean? That's when you know that you tapped into a higher sense of self in terms of the direction that you're going. It's almost something that is like, bro, being in this reality right now and thinking that like I'm going to have to be that one day is crazy to even think about. However, it's definitely something very possible, especially when you're doing that 1% every day, you know, keeping that in mind. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to do the little things here and there and here and there that will eventually put you closer and closer to actually walking in that greatness, walking in that vision, right? And in order for that to actually get there, you're going to have to lose yourself. You're going to have to lose your mind. You're going to have to think that you're not it. You're going to have to think that, man, you're ready to give up. Because every time that you don't give up, every time you do get up, every time you go and you seek answers to your problems, or you find solutions to, you know, with the situations that you're in, and then you overcome, now you bring yourself to a certain esteem to be able to sit and really and truly believe that, yo, what's going to get to me? What's going to affect me? Just touching up on that emotional intelligence that Reese was talking about yesterday. You know what I mean? You brought yourself to a certain stats, you know, like being right here and truly being right there, and letting the anger and the happiness and the sadness and the joy all happen at once and all happen as they're supposed to happen, because that's the part of the process. You know what I mean? So as you're taking your time to bring the balance in between like your 3 parts and 3 cells, you know, just be sure to, you know, feed yourself the positive things, regardless of how difficult it is. Like literally feed yourself things that are going to allow you to progress in life. Like for me, I'm having such a problem being consistent with my diet. Like the saturated items, like the chips and the cookies and the dollar Arizonas. And like I said, that 4 be busting on lunch, boy, I promise. But if I were to take, you know, at least the next, 21 days to form a habit to, you know, really discipline myself and tell myself no to, you know, this red meat, this type of eating, this type of, you know, boom, that's going to allow my physical, right, to get the same spiritual stuff I'm feeling, where I feel like I'm elevating. Like if I don't tag along with my physical to do the same thing, I'm gonna hit a blockade and I won't be able to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't move one without the other. Like all of them literally have to move in unison. Because if it's not happening like that, you're going to be stuck where you're at. You know what I'm saying? And speaking from experience, if you're not taking the time to, you know, read the right material, listen to the right audios, involve yourself in the right conversations, involve yourself with the right people, put in the right type of food into your body. Like nothing healthy is ever really tasty, you know what I'm saying? However, it's good for you and it'll benefit you. I really need to go and figure out, you know what I'm saying, what I want my diet to consist of, because I literally do not want to be sitting here and eating the same bullshit over and over again, right? And when I can actually tap into that, that'll be a paradigm shift, because that's all I've ever known was, what was present, tapping into what was present instead of thinking like, okay, I can grow my own stuff. Yeah, you think about it, but are you actually doing it? You know what I mean? All right, thought crossed your head and you know that you don't really trust, these certain items that are being processed. So what are you going to do about it? Right? That's the spirit talking. What are you going to do about it? And your body is telling you, oh man, I like the way that, they throw that red meat on that grill. They throw that barbecue sauce next to some chicken wings and that cheese and that macaroni, bro. It's just a different type of, that's a different type of love, man. You know what I'm saying? So now your soul is literally feeling that. You're feeling like, yes, that is what we need right there. Some soul food, bro. We want all the yams and the collard greens and the cornbread and throw all of that milk in there and all that good stuff, right? But how good actually is it? You see what I'm saying? Because you want to give yourself things like things that are actually going to cleanse your body. What was some, I'm not even trying to try to pretend I know about all these things, because I have a lot of learning and research to do myself before I can try to regurgitate that to anybody. But I've run into a couple of things that, it could just, benefit you in a way. But when you give yourself that physical, especially that physical, it allows you to be able to get up in the morning and feel good when you're praying. Like, you ever tried to pray on an empty stomach, bro? You got it. You're like, oh man, nah, I can't even concentrate. Like, so what makes you think that if you're doing all this praying and you're doing all this elevation in terms of your spirituality and healing yourself, healing your soul, like if you're not eating properly, you're eating things that are going to take away from your spirit. You're eating things that are ungodly. You're eating items that like really aren't going to send the right chemicals into your brain. Like literally a lot of the foods that we have are meant to, keep us mentally like strapped. Like, they put literal chemicals in the processed food that go into your body and literally start to shut off things that, would necessarily open your pineal, open your third eye, things that'll make you think broader and think greater. Things like fluoride toothpaste. Like, fluoride is actually a chemical that causes you to lose memory. Things like that, like slow operation on your brain cells and shit like that. So like, just have to be very mindful of all the things that we're intaking on that triad level. You know what I'm saying? Because doing things to hurt the body and hurt the soul, they hurt your spirit. You know what I'm saying? They hurt your will to be able to connect to God. You know what I mean? If you just start, just letting go of your life and letting go, I mean, God's not going to give up on you, obviously, but you're not going to be the great self that that you could be. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I still don't know what I'm finna eat, bro. But it was horrible. Yeah, my people, just make sure that y'all because like I say, what y'all got going on can be very different than what I got going on. Half of y'all on this call could be already eating the best stuff. So if you got something good that you eating or something good that you're reading, definitely drop that in these chats, bro. Because like I say, this is a space for all of us who want to learn and grow together. No child left behind. So, recaps, gems, keep up the momentum, the energy. I love seeing y'all consistently, always hopping on, always staying in tune, everything of the sort. And with that being said, man, y'all, I'm going to say less. Y'all stay blessed. Much love to y'all. And I will be seeing y'all around. I'm trying to add like some rollover effect, because like I say, I can't find the red leave button. But press it. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Y'all stay blessed. Stay easy. And we are